you.
I
No, but you were already there when I called. Yes, so
I'm
you should be welcoming me. I feel slighted now,
I
actually.
should be
Come to think of
welcoming.
it.
I'm generally the one who the one who waits for you.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just like,
And it is 4 minutes past the time we were supposed to meet. So
yeah.
I thought
I
at
mean,
first you were going to say I'm usually the one who does everything, which is also true. Uh,
yeah.
so
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm having some weird issues here trying to set up. I had to start. Nobody cares, but I had to start a fresh Wirecast project for the show because when I was setting up the stream and setting up the project for today, I got a notice from Wirecast saying, "Hey, there's a new version. Download it and upgrade." And I'm like, "Okay, but you should never upgrade software without like testing it first."
never
And
upgrade software a few minutes before you're supposed to do something.
well, you
That
know,
I learned.
also, I was like, it's our show. Who cares? Whatever.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, I was
That's the punk rock attitude that makes our podcast great, Ben.
yeah, I was just there was like a weird delay that was happening. I don't know if it was the newer version needs a newer version of Wirecast needs a newer version of Mac OS than what I'm running right now.
Hmm.
So I had to, long story, too long. I had to revert to my Wirecast version, but since I'd already opened the show file with the newer version, it wouldn't let me open the show file with the old version. So I'm rebuilding it as we speak. That's why I sound distracted.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah,
And that is the
speaking of
DIY aesthetic of our show.
speaking of sounding distracted, I have not been right since I came back from Denver.
What does that mean?
That well, okay, so Denver is an hour ahead of you and an
Yes.
hour behind me. And we got back here Sunday night at like 2 a.m. And then
Wow.
I went to bed and I woke up at 6 to go to work.
Right.
And so I've been staying up too late and getting up too early, kind of back and forth for a while. Not getting up too early for work, but getting up too early meaning because I've been going to bed late, I haven't slept as much as I like
Your car
to.
lagged.
Yes, I am car lagged. I am car lagged. Third house of the progenitor. Uh, so
Hey,
yeah,
I
that's
just noticed your shirt, and I see that you have King Shark on your T-shirt
I
there.
do have King Shark on my
Um,
T-shirt here.
King Shark was created by Carl Kiesel. Cole Hornaday and I interviewed Carl Kiesel on our show once.
Wow, really? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, King Shark was good. I was a fan of Polka Dot Man, but they did not have any Polka Dot Man shirts. And then I saw the King Shark shirt, and I'm like, well, okay, come on. Uh, Excellent casting. I'm not necessarily a fan of Sylvester Stallone's politics or whatever, but
I don't.
he did a good job.
I'm unaware of his politics. Does he have bad politics? I'm
I don't
assuming he
know.
does, since you mentioned
I'm
it.
assuming he does. Here's the thing: anyone who's an action star from however long ago, it's been interesting actually. Arnold Schwarzenegger has been saying some good things, um, in the past
Yeah,
about stuff.
he
So
was a Republican governor for
he
California.
was.
But yeah, did you see that video he made for the Ukrainian people?
No, no. But if it's anything like all the other stuff he's been doing, it's probably great.
Yeah, I mean it was basically just a 10-minute video of don't believe. No, it wasn't for the Ukrainians. It was for the Russians, and he
Yeah,
wanted it to go viral in Russia, and it was basically don't believe all the state propaganda you're hearing about this war. It's actually very terrible.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Um, and so this is the fun thing. I will tell you, Ben. Speaking of propaganda, and I might get a little, I won't get in trouble for this, but it's worth noting. Um, I learned something about, and I hate to say this on the podcast, Ben, but I mean, when I say I hate to say this, I mean I hate to say this phrase. Uh, I've learned something about Let's Go Brandon.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And I do you know what they're really? No, I'm kidding. That's not what I look. What they
Do you know what
actually
it
mean when they
means?
say, "Oh my, oh Lord," no, because well, here's the thing, right? I believe that we have said in the past, maybe not in this podcast, but at least whatever we call and talk politics on our own, which is okay, never. But that it seems weird to say that when Democrats are more than happy to tell the president to go F himself without using any. I'm keeping it clean for the podcast, Ben, because I know you hate editing and
Yeah,
bleeping stuff
yes.
out. But like I'll tell Joe Biden to go take a long walk off a short pier. I don't that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Don't fall in love with your heroes, not your heroes. Oh, gross. Don't fall in love with your civil servants is the thing. It's sort of the Democratic way. We will vote for you, but then we will get very mad at you if you don't do the stuff that
Yeah.
we want you to do.
And I'm going to vote for you, but I'm also not going to put your name on a flag and put it behind my car,
Yes. So here's the thing that I learned, and it doesn't make it any better, but it makes it make a little more sense, right? Because all this time I've been, it's just this stupid thing that people say because it sounds like I'm saying this. Here is what I learned, and I learned this from Twitter, not Twitter, a TikTok that came across my feed. The origin of it is that it was a NASCAR race.
Yeah.
Oh, you already know about this? Okay, well then, for the people listening,
yeah, tell the people.
So, all right, the NASCAR people were chanting "F Joe Biden," but not saying "F." They were saying the real word, Ben.
At a NASCAR event?
If I weren't a coward, I would say it too and make you edit it out, but I'm not going to because I care about our relationship. So, so they were chanting that, and there was apparently a driver whose name was Brandon, and someone said, "Oh, it looks like they're chanting, 'Let's go, Brandon.'" And so that became the joke. It's not a joke like, haha, I'm saying this, but I could be saying this. It's that someone else thought that that's what they were saying. And so that's why it's funny. And here's the thing. It's still not very funny, but it is funny. It's one of those things that we call a callback. Hey, I remember this thing that happened. I'm going to say it now. Like there's somebody said I've been called so beggar talk is I'm begging you to play another role-playing game
Okay.
thing. It's anybody that doesn't play 5e basically can commiserate with other people about how they want people to play other role-playing games. And there's this guy who said I have been called the king of beggar talk, and I wrote, I thought we were an autonomous collective, which is funny because one, there's no king, but also, I'm calling back to the thing. And people used to do that all the time, and I would hate it because I was like, all you're doing is you're saying a thing. Why is that funny? But I learned that if you do say a thing, even if it doesn't make any sense, people will still sometimes call it funny or think it's funny. You like Krabby Patties. You could say to someone, you like Krabby Patties or something. Don't you, Squidward? Or is it Squidward? I don't know. Anyway,
Is that a SpongeBob thing?
just say a line from SpongeBob and maybe it's funny. It doesn't always work, obviously. You got to know what the line you're saying is, first of all. That's something that we've learned here today. But anyway, so that's great. I was like a mystery of the universe sort of solved because, as you know, Ben, I don't both sides it that much, but I do have thoughts that people are people in the end. Like politics can poison someone's mind, but it doesn't mean that they aren't a human being.
Yeah,
they're still human beings.
More and more these days, I think it's not just politics poisoning human mind, but the media poisoning the minds to these humans.
Yes, Ben, the lying media. Finally, you're on board.
And I'm referencing one specific story where they gave.
What? I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. For anyone listening, please know that my joking about Ben being a hardcore Republican has just started this podcast. I don't think I've done it ever before, and he's not. I don't think I've ever done that before, Ben, and I won't do it again.
I know. Well, you know, I give you lots of opportunity, but there was a study that came out where they gave they found 30 Fox News viewers, and they paid them to watch CNN for a month or something. And by the end of this, or it was something 90% or all 30 of these people changed their minds because they were given, and you can say what you want about CNN, but they were given a less right-wing talking point, you can call Fox News state media if you want, but it was just an interesting study in how these people didn't maintain their hard right-wing thoughts when they weren't exposed to those messages.
I wonder what would have happened if they were allowed to watch both. But I'm sorry. Let me go back for just a second, Ben. You're saying that let me get this straight. You're saying that these scientists paid people to not watch Fox News. I wonder who was bankrolling that operation, Ben.
Do you ever wonder why we listen to scientists so much? I mean, I'm just asking the question here, but do you ever wonder why scientists have so much pull in the scientific community?
Exactly. It's a travesty of justice. They should let dumb people speak it. Oh my gosh, Ben.
We are getting more and more towards the movie Idiocracy.
Equal time at the scientific conference. Just all right, and now with a rebuttal, and we'll have it be me. It's Paul Goody. Hi, you say that we went to space, but what if people were just asleep the whole time and dreamt they went to space? It's possible. Because I had a dream once, and then it just goes on like that for an hour.
And that almost happens in Congress, where you have some sort of debate about climate change, and James Inhofe, I think of Oklahoma, during a debate, brought in a snowball into the chamber, and he's like, if global warming's a thing, how come I can go outside and grab a snowball? Well, sir, it's wintertime.
Yeah. What was that? Well, my friend, you've confused climate with weather.
Exactly.
And oh man, there was with the Ukraine thing, there's a difference between tactics and strategy that got a lot of play. And I'm not going to say which is which. Is it because I don't know? Maybe. Who knows for real?
I know there's a difference, but I could not tell you what the difference was.
I think and this is please feel free to call us at
tactics
our
are what you
number.
use to advance your strategy.
That's what I was going to say. Tactics are kind of short-term, strategy is more long-term. But I think that between the two of us, we've pretty much nailed it. I think we did a good job.
Solved.
Hey, we did it. Speaking about which, what's our phone number in case anybody wants to call, Ben?
Oh God, no. No more.
It's
No longer.
it's B10 lung lag. That's right, B10 lung lag. I
Figure that one
remembered
out.
it. Yeah, exactly. Or write to us at bensemail at yahoo.com at gmail.com. So, speaking about which, any engagement from the people we used to have a lot more engagement than we did, and then we completely stopped caring.
Well,
and the engagement dropped down.
Yeah, and also as Steven says, we are one of the more hostile podcasts towards our listeners out there, and
absolutely,
unsurprisingly, nobody ever watches the show.
I feel as though, Ben, we could transition from doing just this talking that we do, which is it can be abrasive for sure, or boring, sometimes both. But we could actually start recording noise music.
Oh God!
And just put out an album at some time. I think.
Well, at one point, I was gonna at the beginning of the pandemic, I was gonna try to put together a way for you and I to play music over Zoom or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got close enough. I actually brought my drums to the theater, but like the week after I was planning on doing that, the riots broke out. And Annex sort of became a base camp for the protesters. So I'm like, well, there goes.
Wait, Annex became a base camp for the protesters? How? What? Really? I just learned this.
Yeah. Yeah. We still have some of this stuff here.
Some of the stuff?
Oh, they were like making like DIY shields, and we got a bunch of first aid donations that are all still here.
Oh man, that's really cool.
After 2 years, I think it's safe to throw it out.
If we were still doing spin the bottle, those shields could come in handy for sure for a bit of some kind.
Yeah,
I think
I could just going back to an album of noise music. I'll just send you like a half an hour's worth of me banging on the drums. You can put whatever you want over it, and we'll call it good.
Yeah. Let's do that. Actually, Ben. Let's send me. Yeah. Please do that, and we'll make an album.
So yeah, I mean, we talked about doing that before. Yeah, I mean, where I would send you something, and then you would put lay a track over it, send it back to me. I would put something over that, send it back to you. We've talked about doing that before.
Yeah, but we should actually do it. But you start. We should do it.
Oh, I'm the one who starts, huh?
Yeah. But no, because I have now I actually have a way to do it. I have an iPad with GarageBand on, so I can do stuff.
I have an iPad. It probably has GarageBand on it.
Hey, it could be called iPad. I have an iPad. The name of the album is I Have an iPad with GarageBand on it. GudeLaurance, I have an iPad with GarageBand on it.
No, yes. GudeLaurance, I have an iPad, period. New sentence, it has GarageBand on it.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is it. What day is it? April 21st, Ben, 2022. The origin of the thing. Yeah, and I'll say this: we get 2 passes each, right? You send me whatever you want, and then and yeah, I think the rule should be it's just a half hour. There's only one track. It's a half hour. You can do whatever you want over it, and then I'll do a track. And then you do another track, and then I'll do a track, and then that's it.
And we'll call it good.
Yeah. And I feel like we should like finish it by my birthday, which is May 15th.
May 15th. I think that's enough time.
Yeah.
Hey, new art project.
All right. This is good. This is good. Oh, hey, speaking about new art projects, I haven't answered Ian yet, but I'm going to tell you, I want this to be the last.
Yes,
the last D&D
I
episode.
have said that myself.
Has anyone written back to it? Yeah, I was waiting for. here's the thing, because I'm the DM, I don't want to. Obviously, my statement is big, right? It carries weight.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for other people to respond, but I don't think anyone has, unless they've done it privately.
In regards to this being the final, or in regards to what Ian sent out.
Yeah. Which is this would be the last one of this campaign.
Yes.
And then something else will happen.
I think the silence speaks volume. I think everybody's in agreement with this.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I like it. I have fun. Oh, speaking about liking it and having fun, who is this guy?
Edward.
Who is this guy? Hey.
Oh, you picked up the entire bed.
Oh yeah. That's how we do it. I will say bed to him, and sometimes he'll actually get in it, and then I just pick up the whole thing. And he's very small, so it's easy to do. Hi, pal. How is it? How are you?
So how was the Meow Wolf experience aside from being
it was
car-wagged?
great. It was really good. It's one of those situations where City Museum is really fun. It's really cool as well, in a similar way. But Meow Wolf has a narrative behind it. It has a story that it kind of bones, if you will, that the art kind of builds off of, and so it makes it a little bit more of an interactive experience. And one of those things where, like, if we lived in Denver, we would go back multiple times, because there's a lot more than just the one day's worth of thing to do.
How long was the drive out?
Drive out was, I want to say, about 12 hours, maybe a little bit more because of stopping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So 13 hours usually.
Does Edward do okay in the car?
Yeah, Edward was fine. He basically
did you do okay in the car?
I was all right. I started falling asleep towards the end, which was like I had to rewind. We were listening to one of Jennifer's audiobooks. I had to rewind a couple of times because I was like, oh no, I just missed some things. She did really good. We listened to Virtually Gone, which was good. And on the way up, we listened to Goblin Queen, which was also really good.
Goblin Queen.
Goblin Queen is funny. Jennifer's so good. Let me just say, for the record, and she doesn't listen to this podcast anymore, so you know that it's me being 100% honest. I'm not worried that she's going to listen and find out that I said that she did a good job, but she does a really good job.
I fall asleep on road trips all the time too, which can be problematic because I insist on driving.
That's nice.
That's the worst feeling, though, when you're like driving a pretty long distance and you just cannot keep your eyes open. I've never actually fallen asleep at the wheel, but like I have gotten very close.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where you're like, well, maybe I should pull over and go to sleep, but you're also like, well, I'm the one who also, for those listening to the podcast, you should pull over and go to sleep if you're falling asleep. Better that you not make it than you die. Yeah. But you also are like, well, but I have to get there. At least that's how I am.
And sometimes, like I've driven up and down the I-5 corridor between Seattle and Olympia, for the last 40 years. If not in a car, then as a passenger. And I'm very familiar with that very boring stretch of I-5. And so coming home from like visiting my parents or just being in Olympia for whatever reason, it's just, it's so hard to stay awake, especially if it's late at night or whatever. And my thought sometimes is like, well, I'm only 20 minutes away. I can handle another 20 minutes,
Yeah.
It's usually one of those situations.
With peeing sometimes as well, where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop at this gas station. There's another gas station 20 minutes away. I should be fine.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh no. Hey, I'm going to do something really quick, Ben. I don't think I've done this on the podcast. I might have
Uh-oh.
done this on the podcast before, but we'll see. You're just going to indulge me for just a second. What have I become, my Swedish friend? Bordy, board, 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 beep, board, board. I think it's great. Jennifer and I do that, and I just wanted it immortalized on our podcast as well.
Yeah.
It happened in the car while we were driving. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's funny.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a thing, Ben, where people asked, and so this is another thing I'd love to posit for you. If you were going to do one movie, right? It's any movie, you keep one human actor and all the rest of the actors are Muppets. What would you do? What would be your?
I don't know. I immediately want to think of it like a zombie movie. So like 28 days
Ash.
later. Oh,
Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, Evil Dead 2. Would be good. 28 days later is good. You remember the one that I picked?
I don't remember the one you picked.
Okay. I think it's important to pick the right human actor. Right?
Yeah.
Like, who would you like to see in a movie surrounded by Muppets?
Face Off. Where
that's
John Travolta is wearing a Muppet version of Nick Cage's face.
not bad, not bad. I picked Nobody.
Nobody. Yeah. That's a good one.
I just think it would be, yeah. I mean,
Bob Odenkirk just kicking ass on a bus against a bunch of Muppets.
And yelling at Muppets and,
God damn it!
I think it would be great. Yeah. Oh, speaking about which, I just watched second episode of Better Call Saul. It's good.
Season 6?
Season 6. Yep. On AMC Plus.
AMC Plus.
What else have I been watching? I've been watching Outer Range.
I've never heard
Outer
of it.
Range is pretty good. It's Josh Brolin. It's a sort of mystery Western.
Okay.
I don't want to get too much into it. Weird things may happen as part of it.
I haven't really been watching a lot. The baseball season's just started, so I've been watching a lot of baseball, especially while I work. And at night, the Mariners games are on. But Russian Doll Season 2 just dropped on Netflix. So
is it all episodes?
It's Netflix, so I think that's how they do it on Netflix, I believe.
Yeah, then that might be one of the next things I end up watching as well.
Yeah.
I've watched all of Brand New Cherry Flavor.
Again, never heard of it.
Pretty good. It's the Netflix show.
These? Oh, Atlanta. I've been catching up on Atlanta.
Oh shoot! I really have to watch Atlanta. I've watched some of it already.
Yeah.
I think the last episode I saw was Justin Bieber, so I'm way behind.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got some good episodes coming up. But yeah, this is like, I don't know if it's this season or next season is the final season.
But yeah, I really am excited to get back into it. One of the things about Atlanta, I read things about I've just got done watching Twin Peaks. What should I watch now? And Atlanta comes up a whole bunch.
Well, I've never watched Twin Peaks, but from what I understand, yeah, there's some stylistic sameness going on.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really good. That's going to be one of my next ones for sure. I've been watching some Channel Zero, but and again, Channel Zero, brand new cherry flavor. It's same kind of people. Oh, I saw the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yeah, how was it?
It was good.
I
I really liked it.
Yeah, it's getting high praise. What's not getting high praise, which is surprising, is The Batman.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
People
I'm
don't
hearing
like the Batman?
I'm hearing a lot of there, like with any movie, there are people who like it and people who don't like it, but I'm actually surprised by the people who say they don't like it.
Like people that we know or
Yeah, people
critics?
who people who are hardcore comic geeks, because
Wait, is
once
this another situation where Cole doesn't like it?
no, I don't know if Cole's seen it yet.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where what I've heard people say about the movie is that it harkens back to like the old school detective Batman days, right? Where he wasn't just flying around and punching people and just creating havoc, but he's more like a detective, and that's the what this movie is doing to the character, and people that just doesn't jive for people. I guess they want to see Batman just punching, punching, punching.
Well, I will say that now don't take this the wrong way, but I started watching the Batman on HBO Max and I stopped. It wasn't because I didn't like it. It was because it was a 3-hour movie and it
Oof.
was too late.
Yeah.
So I watched about a half hour of it and I was like, I'm going to revisit this over the weekend when I have more time.
There are a number of movies that I want to see, but I just don't have 3.5 hours to devote to them.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things, and I hate to say it, but that's one of the things about going to the movies that is nice. That when you're going to the movies, that you're there to see that movie. You're not gonna get distracted and do something else. You're watching that movie
ideally
for that time. Well, yeah. I mean, and if not, what are we even doing?
What have we got to the movies for?
Jennifer and I going to the movies, and getting popcorn and stuff like that. Probably about it here in Illinois. Probably, I'm going to say about $35. Not bad at all. It would probably be much more in other places.
Especially here. This is one of those questions I would fail if I were running for office and asked, how much does it cost to go to the movies? It's been so long since I've gone to the movies. I have no idea how much a ticket is. I want to say $15. For a movie ticket.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it was the movie tickets themselves for me and Jennifer. A 7:15 p.m. showing on a Tuesday, I want to say. It might have been, wait, was it yesterday? Okay, on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
29.95 whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So you got it.
I got it
right.
Hey.
That's in Southern Illinois though. Seattle probably more.
Probably. Man,
one thing I will say is I feel jealous whenever I see Brett put out the hey, there's a chance to see this movie. And every time I see it, it's a movie that I want to see. I'm really interested in seeing The Northman.
I've seen ads for that one, but yeah.
That's done by the guy who did The Lighthouse.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's a weird Viking film. Let's see what else. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I think it's called.
Yeah, the new Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be
definitely want to see that one.
And what's his name? Pascal. What's his first name?
Pedro
Pascal.
Mando.
He is going to be in The Last of Us TV show.
Yeah.
Which is going to be pretty great, I think.
And am I getting this I'm probably getting this wrong, but the girl from Game of Thrones, is she the
Yeah.
other character in
And when we say the
Last of
girl
Us?
from Game of Thrones, we're talking about the princess or queen of Bear Island, whoever.
Yeah, I don't remember
Um,
her name, but she was like this tough, like 12-year-old.
yeah, exactly. So that fits.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, did you play The Last of Us?
I have not played it, but I read this really interesting article about the development of the game and the developers, and I've seen some gameplay footage because it's like I think part 2 is based here in Seattle, so I wanted to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. The Last of Us Part Two. That was one of the things I was going to ask you about, whether or not you saw it, because I mean, it's one of those cases of um, sometimes the thing will look familiar, but it's not like being in Seattle. Although I will say this, I mentioned this once before. I think there was a either an episode of a TV show or a movie, one of the two, that took place in the mall that a level in Cyberpunk 2077 was based on, and it was surreal because you're watching this thing that's taking you to a place. The only way I could describe it is the movie Ronin uh, took place in Villefranche-sur-Mer, where I stayed when I was in France. There was one of the car chases had streets, and so I knew those streets, and I had been where they're turning, and it's really jarring. I've never had this problem with a movie before, but it's one of those situations where they're having this big chase,
Running into fruit
and,
stands.
and they're going into you remember that?
Of course,
Of course
I
you do. Um, but the the blocks that they're going down, sometimes it's the same block like a couple times,
yeah.
and they turn and they're in a place that street doesn't go in, and that kind of thing. Living in LA, that must be kind of crazy sometimes too, where you're like, wait a second, that's where Daniel's apartment is, or
I know
whatever.
you probably get used to that though if it happens all the time. If you're in LA, you're aware that the motion picture business is just going to be a hassle in your day to day. I can't imagine living in areas that often get like roped off because they're filming or something. You know,
Yeah,
like
for sure. It'd be
there's a movie that was filmed here last summer, a Steven Soderbergh movie called Kimmy. And
what's it about? Do you know?
I have no idea. I think it's about like online stalking or something, or
Okay.
online detective work or something like that. But yeah, I remember like it's so rare when a movie gets filmed, like a big budget movie gets filmed here in Seattle. This was like downtown, Lower Queen Anne. People were getting pissed off because like the streets are closed and I can't get my coffee from my normal Starbucks because they're filming inside there. The funny thing about that movie that I heard is that the production company cleared a homeless encampment off of one street
Ooh.
and put homeless actors, like actors pretending to be homeless people, on the street.
Wow,
And
that's crazy.
I mean, I kind of get that because like these are actors, they've signed releases, they're not going to disrupt the filming, but I mean, that's a little ridiculous.
I feel as though the Real World Seattle had stopped filming when I arrived in Seattle. Like they had been there like a couple of years before, or something like that.
Yeah, well, there's been two, as you know. The first one
I
was in
didn't.
'98.
Yeah, so that would have been a year before I got there. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
there was one like in 2016 or something.
gotcha. The thing that I remember. Oh, so I missed both of them. Hey, all right.
I've never
The
seen
thing,
the newer one, but I might be in some background shots because the house was next to the Northwest Film Forum, and so walking to and from Annex, I often saw the cameras.
and the thing that I remember from that is that people apparently went out of their way to disrupt some shots and things like that, because for the same thing, they didn't like the fact that this was happening
Yeah.
in our.
So, yeah.
And 107.7 The End was played heavily into that TV show. They like worked at the radio station or something like that.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's the alternative radio station. Alternative music radio station, I must say.
As opposed to, of course, KEXP, which is legit.
Yeah.
There are lots of like whenever I look for it, sometimes, Ben, I'll tell you, I enjoy covers. It's one of my favorite types of music, is a cover of another song that has hints of the song but is different. And lots of times when I'm just looking for music or alternate takes, like the band does alternate takes, and KEXP has concerts, so you can actually watch like sort of like the NPR Tiny Desk concert. You can watch your favorite band do a version of their song in a different setting. It's really
they're
cool.
In studio.
And I will say this: my kid, who you're familiar with, Betty, is a Tally Hall fan. Tally Hall is a band from the mid 2000s, I guess.
Okay.
So 2006 to like 2008, they were touring, and they had a band that opened for them called Awesome in Seattle, Washington. And it was crazy seeing them on there. And this is the secret hidden Easter egg. And I was imagining, there was a time when I was trying to think of all the Dinobots, and I couldn't remember. Like, I knew Grimlock was the Tyrannosaurus one.
Yeah.
And I knew that there was a Stegosaurus.
I could have told you what they were at some point, but I don't remember that now.
But there was one that I just couldn't picture, and it drove me nuts. And I was having that problem with Awesome. Is like I was thinking of all the members, and I knew who all the members were.
Yeah.
And I knew the instruments that they all played, but I couldn't figure out who the drummer was.
Yeah.
And of course, we can say this on the podcast. I'm never going to say it in real life, but it's Kirk Anderson. And the reason I was having trouble figuring out what Kirk Anderson played is because Kirk Anderson and Evan Mosier, before Awesome was a band, performed at Spin the Bottle with us a lot.
Yes,
and in those situations, Kirk was singing. And so I have these images in my head of Awesome playing at Spin the Bottle, but Kirk is singing. He's not behind the drum kit because I'm remembering him from when he and Evan were doing stuff. And let me just say, Ben, Evan and Kirk doing their music stuff was one of the things that I hoped wouldn't happen when we were doing music things. It was so good. And it was two guys playing music, and it was two guys playing music well. Yeah. I was just like, don't do it. Don't.
I know. That was when I would actually just kind of get frustrated with Brett, because I'm like, you asked us to do music, and Kirk and Evan are doing music? What? Do you not like us? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, but eventually I figured it out. And when I say I figured it out, I mean Stephen McCandless told me. But then as soon as he told me, I was like, oh yeah.
You tweeted this, right? And didn't a bunch of people just like give you a bunch of joke replies?
That's right. No one actually said.
Because I saw that, but only after, like, I think Basil replied to you or something, and I'm like, is Paul? Is this a joke Paul's playing, or does he legitimately not remember Kirk as the drummer? Because
I really
what's the joke
remember
here?
Kirk as the drummer. Yeah, I really didn't remember Kirk as the drummer, but then Steven told me, and as soon as he said it, I'm like, of course.
Yeah,
of course. And actually, Jennifer was like, "Was it Kirk?" And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, okay. And then so that's how I found out. Steve told me. But in a way, Jennifer told me as well.
I was working at a video production house, which no longer exists now, so I can tell this story.
Okay.
But they had a contract with A&E to edit one of those like home remodeling shows. Honestly, I don't even remember the name of the show.
Can I ask you a really quick question? Did you work with anyone that we knew at this place, or is this
Yeah, I was brought in because
that...
I was brought in because I knew the editor.
Okay, I think I know who that might be, but let's keep talking.
Okay, so anyway, I was asked to cut a sizzle reel from one of the episodes, and it wasn't like it was just like, here's what this 30 to 60 seconds of, here's this episode. Mm-hmm. So I had to sit and watch the episode first, just to to waste some time, because I was paid hourly, and also to get a sense of what's in it. And it was a home remodeling show that was based here in Seattle, or at least this episode was. And the owner of the house was somebody that I knew, and they brought, the way it worked is they had cameras set up around the house, like security cameras, and they brought in random strangers to walk through the house, and they, the show was basically what these random strangers thought of the house.
Yeah.
And then they would do a remodel of the house, and then they brought these same random strangers back, and these same random strangers walked through the house and was like, "Ooh, this looks so much better," just kind of like telling the owners, "Yeah, people like your house now. You can sell it or you can keep it, whatever." So I knew who the owner of the house was, and one of the people walking through it was Kirk Anderson. But Kirk also knows this guy, so who owns the house. I knew they were friends because I'd seen them on stage together. So I'm like, this is all. I mean, I never had a sense that reality TV was anything other than manufactured, but this was like, yeah, this is so made up. It's funny.
Here's the way I always think about it, Ben. If you can hear the person, if you can hear their audio clearly,
they're mic'd
in
up.
the TV show, they have spoken to the person that they're talking to at least once before. It's really bad. It's really bad when they like walk up to the door and they're like, "Hi, Kevin." Why, yes, it's me, Kevin. That kind of thing.
Well, my favorite shot in all these shows is when like the host of the show walks up to a house and knocks on the door, and then you see a shot from inside the house where the person opens up the door to meet the host.
Yeah.
I think Pimp My Ride did that a lot. People, I heard a story that when Exhibit came to your house, you were told to just be super excited, like you were seeing him for the first time.
And it really is a throwback to old magicians and stuff like that. You've never met me before, right? That's right. That kind of thing where it's like, you're really or it's also sort of like wrestling in a way where it's like, nobody really expects it to be real, but you also don't want to be told. You don't want anyone to go out of their way to remind you that it's not real.
Yeah.
Basically. And that, Ben, it's just like the simulation. Now let's talk. No, so
it always comes back to that.
But because I love it so much, because like I said, the thing that I got from reality TV, people were like, is reality TV fake and all that? What it really shows you more than anything is how much real life is kind of fake, if that makes sense. Well, reality TV, everything gets planned and you do. I have seen situations where people are like in a conference room and they're like, okay, so when this person gets here, I'm going to start out. I'm going to, let them know how they're doing. I put out these name tags so that everyone's going to be sitting. You're going to be sitting by this guy. And when he says this, make sure to tell him that, like, it happens already. And the same thing, like, if you go to a dentist's office, the dental assistants have been coached about how they meet you.
Yeah.
They direct you where to go, all that kind of thing. Oh, the reason I'm mentioning the dental thing is because I thought of something cool about Meow Wolf, right?
Okay.
And that's that. You remember when we were talking about doing debrief as a thing? You and I had talked about, I don't know if you remember this, about a play called Dentist Office, where you hire an actual dentist to play the dentist, and it's an individual theater experience where people just go and they actually get dental work done, but then also there's drama that's happening at the dentist office, like the conversations that the dental workers are having and stuff like that. So it's an individual theater experience that costs
Right.
like $500, but your insurance can pay for some of it as long as the procedure is getting done. But the important thing was that the procedure had to be done because that was part of it. That you couldn't leave. This uncomfortable thing was happening, but you also had somebody working in your mouth and stuff like that. We never did it, of course.
No,
but,
no.
Oh, Ken Jeong? Is that his name? Jeong?
Ken Jeong?
How do you pronounce it? Ken Jeong. Jeong. Ken Jeong. Actual doctor. Did you know this?
I
did
did
not
know that.
know this.
And he actually had a show called Dr. Ken at some point.
Yeah. But I didn't realize that was part
I
of it.
just saw a clip of him today because it came out a couple months ago that he's a judge on the TV show The Masked Singer, and turns out America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani was unmasked as one of the singers, and that he walked off the stage. So Ken Jeong walked out. So the footage of that just came out today, I guess.
That's I mean, yeah, you don't need that if you're Ken Jeong. No thanks. You would think that you would, with the rules of reality TV and all that, are they really kept a secret from the people? I guess so.
Or it was a staged bit. I mean, as you say, there's, everything's fake.
I mean, here's what it could be. It could be this. Ken Jeong doesn't like it. Is like, I don't want to do the show. I'm not going to do the show if he's on it. And they say, well, what if you walk out? What if you walk out when he shows up? But I will also say, like, I mean, there are things that can happen on camera that are unplanned, and people just have to deal with it at that point. So
there was a story from like the late 80s, early 90s when Andrew Dice Clay was going to host Saturday Night Live, and a couple of the female cast members, I think Nora Dunn was one of them, Victoria Jackson might have been the other, but they basically boycotted the show that week because he was hosting. And I remember that being big effing news back then. Like, Nora Dunn's not going to be, she's protesting Andrew Dice Clay, and yeah, it's the same.
And Bob Roberts, that episode where some of the cast didn't go on their version of Saturday Night Live because Bob Roberts was on the show.
Ah.
Do you remember Bob Roberts? I remember
not.
Bob Roberts.
I don't remember Bob Roberts.
Oh, okay. Bob Roberts. All right. You're familiar with a person who's romantically linked with Susan Sarandon, an actor?
Yes.
Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins?
Yeah.
He has a film called Bob Roberts that was about a conservative sort of pop icon. Jack Black first acting role in that. or
Really?
first major acting role. He did a really good job. Yeah, as somebody who's obsessed with Bob Robert.
What was that? Uh, uh, that movie. Um, and I can't think of Warren's last name, but Bonnie and Clyde,
Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty.
Are you talking about Bulworth?
Bulworth, that's the one I'm thinking of.
I've never seen Bulworth.
I saw it in the theater.
How was it?
For some reason, it was fine. I don't remember anything about it except he's wearing he's like a politician or something, but he's wearing like a ski cap and rapping and wearing dark glasses. It's probably horrifically dated at this point.
Yeah.
What with cultural appropriation and everything. But
well, I've mentioned this before. Nowadays, some white people are good at rapping. So the bad white person rapping now fails on two levels. At first, it was just one, which was, oh, there's a white person rapping, and that is bad.
But also, here's a white person rapping. He's bad, but he's also dressed like a black rapper.
Right, exactly. It is a failure on many levels.
Yeah.
But I guess you had the Beastie Boys, who are beloved hip hop icons. I saw there was a tribute to them that was made by a whole Q-Tip from A Tribe Called Quest was there doing stuff, and they have some
on the mic for.
They have some legitimate fans.
Yeah.
In the rap community. But they were, and Third Base also kind of okay, but they were still kind of novelty acts. Eminem was like kind of universally, it was agreed that this guy's actually good at rapping, and it's not just that he's a white guy who's rapping, but he's actually a good rapper. And now, I don't know, the scene is a lot broader, there are a lot more names and things like that. You had your pioneers, and then the sort of legitimate working, and now you still have that sort of thing. But all of this to say, a dumb old guy who raps badly is no longer funny.
Yeah.
Or a nerdy white guy rapping badly is no longer funny, because you have MC Paul Barman, a nerdy white guy who is rapping well. That sort of thing. So, good. We solved another thing, Ben.
Hey, we're just ripping through today's social ills.
So, I feel as though hip hop in general used to have, I think it was it 3 pillars only? There was rap, there was, I guess maybe DJing, was DJing part of it? So rap, DJing, breakdancing, graffiti art, and I think there might have been one more, and I don't remember what improv comedy. Those were the 5. I'm kidding about the improv comedy, but if you know what the 5 pillars of hip hop are, let me know where I went wrong.
I don't.
And so MCing, DJing, breakdancing, maybe there's only 4, and graffiti art.
Was it?
What am I missing? Ventriloquism.
Lowriders.
No. Was it car based? Maybe. I don't think so though.
Car culture.
Well, Ben, this looks like cliffhanger. Stick around for next week, where we come up with were there ever 5 pillars of hip hop, or am I just wrong?
And until then, Paul, keep it wrong.
Hey, keep it wrong, Ben, and I appreciate the chance to speak to you.
Indeed,
I always enjoy it.
I'll try to get you an audio track of our new noise music album. I have an iPad. It has GarageBand on it. To you soon.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Ben. And oh my God, we should say probably completely unlistenable, but maybe